Bethel Park. It's me, Amy Taylor. I have a very special edition of Healthy, Fit, and Strong for you today. With us, we have local Pittsburgh legend, radio personality, MC, Mr. Frankie Day. Welcome, welcome.
Well, it's glad to be here, I'll tell you.
We're glad to have
you. Thank you for inviting me.
Frankie.
Saturday night, I just love you.
Oh, thank you so much. We met at a Shriners event where you were emceeing.
Absolutely.
I approached you on the stage. Yes, I went all the way up to the stage and I says, "Excuse me, sir. You seem like quite the character. I would love to interview you for Bethel Park TV."
I appreciate that.
And you said, "Let's do it. Let's make it happen."
Let's make it happen. Yeah. We're making it happen.
We are. But I should have told you, you should have dressed for the occasion, Frankie.
Oh,
I mean, is this everyday wear for you or what is this?
Not really, but I have lots of these outfits because when I walk on stage, just like many of the groups said, Frankie, you make the crowd happy, and we just love you to death because we know we're going to have a good show. After you emceed us and brought us out on stage, it's going to be a good show.
This is fantastic. Can we get a shot of your foot here? Because your accoutrements are just everything.
Oh, baby, look
come
at that.
on now, solid gold shoes to go with your solid gold oldies. Now, I understand that you are, well, obviously, a local Pittsburgh legend.
Yes.
I mean, anybody that everybody knows you and anybody that doesn't know you, we are here to tell you today how amazing this guy is, okay? Yes, and I really, really want to preach about just everything it is that you do.
Well, and I appreciate it.
It started off in high school, correct?
Yes,
Talk
in
to
high
us
school.
about that.
Well, I was playing, had shows every Sunday night. I had a dance, and of course the important thing is it was a great dance, and we had lots of kids come into the dance, and of course it was out in the Lincoln Avenue district, and I did that for about 5 years, and we had a good time. And why did I leave? Because I got a job, and then I got married, and bought a house, and guess what?
What?
Disc jockeys don't make no money, so I left that on the table for Dick Clark to go have fun the rest of his life.
That's right.
But I'm back at it.
You're the new Ryan Seacrest.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Right.
He could learn a thing or two from you.
Right, exactly. But this is fun. I really enjoy the atmosphere of the oldies, and the sounds of the 50s, 60s, and 70s are without a doubt the greatest music ever recorded.
Ah, that's what you say. That's what you say. I understand that you have over 80,000 songs on your request playlist. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And your quote is, if you don't have the song, then it mustn't be a good one.
That's right. I figured that.
All right. Well, then I have a quiz for you.
Go ahead.
2 of my favorite songs. I want to know if they're on your request playlist.
Go ahead.
Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Is it on it?
Absolutely.
All right, because that's my favorite. Second favorite would be At the Hop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yay! Okay, well then you're right. You do have all the hits.
I'm striking another rich right here.
I love it.
That. Yeah, I love it too, like the both of us.
And you started DJing in 2005?
Yes, on the radio station, March 5th. I was on from 4 to 6:30.
In the evening?
In the evening. And, of course, Carolyn, my wife at that time, she answered the telephone. People liked my voice, liked my music.
Your voice.
They loved my music. And, of course, Carolyn always said to me, just keep positive, stay on track, be concerned about your music and making people happy.
I love it.
And that's the truth.
And you've been doing it ever since?
Ever since.
Yep. And you even won awards.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to us about the people at home about the awards.
Sure.
2011, you won second place for the top AM oldies station, correct?
Right.
Show us
exactly. This is the award. There were 120 AM stations nominated.
Wow.
On the award. And, of course, out of the 120 stations, KFB was one of them, of course. And, of course, we were on the Internet, and I was broadcasting on the soundsofphillyradio.com. And the thing is you voted for your favorite disc jockey or favorite station, whatever. And, of course, believe it or not, after 3 weeks, Ross on Radio called me. He said, Frankie, You have a tremendous listening audience, and people absolutely love you. And guess what? You're in the final 11. And Frankie, you can't believe how many votes you got, computer votes. And what they did, you could only vote one time, so you couldn't have your kids at home at night filling the ballot box.
Right.
It was legit. And they ran it for 2 more weeks, and that Friday, it ended on a Friday. And of course, then what happened is they called me on Saturday and said, Frankie, you can't believe it. You came in number 2 in the USA and Canada.
That's unbelievable.
I was freaking out. Really. It was amazing. And I truly love it. And of course, I will never forget that. And those people were so wonderful to me. And it's just a tribute to how many people are listening to the Frankie Day Oldies Show. And I've been blessed by God with a good voice. I got my health, is all I asked for. And of course, Mary and I, we say our prayers 4 times a day to continue to keep this going, because as long as I have my health, there's going to be a Frankie Day, and there'll always be oldies in Pittsburgh.
And you're 81 years young, correct?
81, yeah, young?
Yep.
I don't feel that.
Yep.
Well, Mary is making sure that I stay alive. You know what I mean? She's a great girl.
Your fiance takes good care of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been blessed by God by her.
Good. Now, also, you won another award. In 2020, you were nominated for the East Coast Music Hall of Fame as the Legend Disc Jockey and MC. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Show us that.
This is, I'm very proud of this. And of course, we won this nomination. It's only a nomination.
Right.
But I feel so honored to be with Jerry Blavat, Bobby J, Scott Mooney, Allison Steele, Wolfman Jack. Hey, how about that one?
You're with
Jocko
all the greats.
Henderson, Joe Cossey, Hylit, and Norman the Knight.
I love it.
By the way, they put my name first.
You're number 1 in their hearts. Hold that up for the cameras so that everybody can see. That's fantastic.
So that's really wonderful, and I appreciate it an awful lot. And the accolade, of course, came in 2020, and they were having a show in 2020. That was canceled. They were having a show in 2021. That was canceled. So they are rescheduling the show from June 6th and 7th, 2022 at Harrah's Atlantic City. And it's the East Coast Music Hall of Fame. Just to have my name mentioned with these disc jockeys, I am so proud of that. And of course, I have to tell you how I get to the radio station.
Talk to us about it.
I think this is important. You know, KFB, we actually, I had an office supply company, D&D Office Plus, and of course we've been in business for up until I sold the business in June of 2016 to WB Mason Company, and we were local. And of course, I started the business, and of course, we were fortunate to do very well.
And then one day, the owner of the radio station comes in, the manager of the radio station comes in.
Well, we actually sold all the office furniture, and he liked what he got. And of course, I was on the delivery, not doing my job. I was cleaning, wiping the desk off, and running the sweeper. And he decided, geez, this company's not too bad. And we did a beautiful job. And what all happened was in about 2 months, he called and wanted furniture for his house. And he talked to Terry, our representative, and Terry said, sure. And he said, well, I'll be into the store, and I'll come in. And the day he came in, I happened to be all dressed up, suit and tie as usual, businessman. He said, I'm Bob Stevens from Broadcast Communications, and I'd like to purchase my furniture for my home from you. And I said, I'll be delighted and honored to wait on you. And I gave Terry all the numbers. We sold him a whole complete wall unit, and to satisfy his needs. And while he was there, we had a an article from the magazine industry, and of course, what it was is I was in business for 35 years at that time, and Bob Stevens said to me, he says, boy, this is the nicest family article I've ever seen. He said, I have to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind. I said, no, I don't mind. He said, well, why'd you answer these questions like this? He said, I want to know. He says, it says here, what was your worst job? And I love that answer. I said, never had a bad job. I enjoyed everything. Working at the age of 16 at Schwartz's Sanitary Supermarket, and a little bit older, I worked at Max Klein's in the Lincoln Avenue district as a fountain jerk. And of course, all I can say is everything. I love people, love the association, and I never really met a bad person as far as I'm concerned. He said, well, there's very few people that I could say that you would say that to, that you really, I love the answer. But there's one more thing I see on the list. He said, I see you were a former disc jockey. Why did you retire? I said, because I got married, bought a house, and disc jockeys don't make no money. Oh, he said, any other reason? Yeah, I said, hey, guess what? There's not room for Dick Clark and Frankie Day. I let Dick Clark go ahead of me. He started laughing. He said, guess what? I have 2 disc jockeys. Would you like to come up? He said, your personality is fabulous. And I said, sure. He said, well, I'll call you next week for that appointment. And he did. He called me on Thursday. He said, Frankie, come on up for an interview. And he said, bring anything along you want. Okay. So I said, okay. And I said, I'll bring you my theme song. He said, well, what's the name of it? I said, you won't know it. You're too young. And I said, it's a concerto from the X-15. And, of course, it recorded back in 1961 by Elliot Evans. And I said, when you hear it, you're going to love it. Because, believe me, I've been using it ever since it came out. And, of course, he said he did call me. I went up to the studio. My appointment was at 2 o'clock. I got there about 15 minutes early. He called me right in. Clark Ingram and him interviewed me. And he said, let me hear that theme song. Well, I saw about a 3-foot smile on 2 guys. And it is a powerful song. And really, I'm blessed. And he said, I'm going to give you the microphone and let you talk, and let's see what you sound like. I said, okay, no problems. I had a little note in my pocket, and I said, good afternoon. This is yours truly, Frankie Day, on KMB, WKMB. And Frankie Day's only show is going to be on from 4 to 6:30. And believe me, if you have any requested music you'd like to hear, all you have to do is give Carolyn a call. And that was how it ended. And Clark Ingram, about a month later, he came in and said to me, he said, Frankie, he said, you're blessed by your music and your knowledge. And he said, really, this is terrific. He said, I can't believe, he said, how your phone rang for you. He said, I was at a radio station with 2 million listeners, and all 3 lines of your show, the last 2 hours, were full of requests.
Now, what days and times do you currently broadcast?
I'm on every weekday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Those shows are normally pre-recorded because I'm busy emceeing and doing events. Mm-hmm. But it's still the same. You cannot tell. You know, the other thing you can't do is call me on Saturday and make a request. And as a matter of fact, you can't. I'm so busy. What I did is you could text me your favorite song and request on whatever you want. And I probably get 40 to 60 texts every single morning from people that I truly, truly love. They're amazing people. And of course, that's part of my makeup and making. people. God put me on this earth to make people happy.
And you certainly do.
Yeah, and I want to. That's my my whole background.
And you brought with us some other shows and tells. Talk to us about Frankie's fans.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, I got a lot of young fans. I mean, seriously.
It's good music.
Really, Now I'm so proud of this. Now, you can see here, this young man and his family really admired Frankie Day, and I've had that. I'm so original and so positive and so happy. I had people tell me, "Oh, listen, you make our day. If you'd ever go off the air, we don't know what we'd do without you." And I feel that that's so wonderful.
You touch a lot of lives.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, I have Chris from Trafford. He's been calling me since 17 years.
A loyal listener.
A loyal listener, a young man. And, of course, still calls me. He texts me every morning, almost every single morning with his request. And I just love him to death. But I have many people like that. And, of course, that's so good for my heart. Really, it makes me feel good inside. That's why I get up at 6 o'clock. Marion and I, she's a perfect example of what a companionship is. We hop right out of bed immediately at 6. She's on one side of the bed, I'm on the other side. We make the bed, and we get our day rolling.
You get going.
Get going.
That's right.
I'm going to get the heck out of here and get to the radio station.
I love it.
Get behind that microphone.
I love it so much. And you brought with you a postcard, which you said is another accolade.
Oh,
And I
yes.
would love to talk about that.
Yes. Well, this is the SonsOfPhillyRadio.com. And this is something that I'm really extremely proud of. They had 25 disc jockeys because they were on 24 hours a day. I occupied the same time I was on here in Pittsburgh, 8 to 10. And actually, that's how I won this accolade and this award right here in front of me. Mm-hmm. And the important thing is I touched a lot of lives. And they took me, one week I took off from the station and I went to their visit with them, and Lance drove me around. And in 2 days, he had me on 4 radio stations with a 2-hour show. I couldn't believe it. And he said, "Frankie, we love you to death. We just can't believe how happy you are and the positivity. And you are the ballad king as far as we're concerned right here in New Jersey. You love your ballads." And that's the other thing. When Carol and I first started together, we kept track of the requested songs that were called in. Mm-hmm. So nobody could tell me that I'm playing the wrong music because you requested it. We
Right.
wrote it down. So we did it week after week when we started on Saturdays. And like if you called in Since I Don't Have You, 1 week, 2 weeks, it was all marked. So we knew positively what songs the Pittsburgh area loved.
And you also brought with you a flyer. I picked one of those up you had at the
Right.
event, and just showed the people at home the flyer.
Right. And I'm very proud of this. Oh, by the way, this is my new Buick.
I saw it out in the parking lot.
Oh, I bought this from Cochran Cadillac, which is a major sponsor. And I will say about my sponsors, 18 years. Can you believe I have
I can believe
7
it.
of them?
You have
18
loyal followers, loyal.
Exactly. And of course, I buy the airtime for broadcast communications, so that means I have a monthly bill, and so I need
That's right.
monthly sponsors.
You need the coins. You need the coins.
You got it.
I love it.
I do.
Now,
And,
Frankie, I want to switch gears a little bit. About 10 years ago, I know that you suffered a minor stroke.
yes.
I want to talk to you briefly about that. Did that keep you from doing disc jockeying at all, or how did that
No,
affect you?
I've rebounded from that terrifically. Well, of course, I think my belief in God helped me tremendously.
I know that you're very respectful and honoring of God.
I am.
And you wanted to talk a little bit about your family.
Yeah, well,
And I would love to talk to you about that.
Well, I would let me show you my family that I'm very, very proud of. And of course, right here I have my son Frank, my 2 daughters Angela and Jennifer, and we were very fortunate. And like I say, Carolyn, unfortunately, had stage 4 cancer as soon as they found out. And, of course, she passed away October the 2nd, 2014.
That was your wife.
That was my wife. Now, I thought that I would have lots of nervous breakdowns, lots of failures, because I lost the love of my life.
She was your
Really.
rock.
Absolutely.
How long were
And
you married?
1 month short of 49 years. And that was great. And, of course, the thing that we had with our family is we built 4 homes. My kids come join us and in Willow Glen in North Huntington. And having your kids 2 doors away to the left and right, and then right across the street. Boy, I tell you, the holidays made it so nice. But here's the biggest thing that I thoroughly enjoy. To this day, the most important thing is to have dinner with your family. And we had it every single Sunday. And I moved my mother-in-law, Carolyn and I agreed, hey, Grandpa, mother-in-law, when I first met them, the very first night, I fell in love with them. I said, that's the kind of a family I want to have with Carolyn. That means the most to me. And of course, Grandma, as we call her, she always was put the food out on the table, make people happy. You make somebody happy by filling their belly.
Right.
That's why I got a fat belly, so I love it, And we had a tremendous relationship. And of course, my father-in-law passed away from lung cancer previously. Then we had the opportunity to build another new home, and that's when our kids joined us. And it was what I say when we went to church that I always was very, very proud of. I looked to the left, I looked to the right, I looked behind me. There was 3 great kids, their mates, and 8 grandchildren. Fathers would give their right arm to have that happen. That was out of respect for Carolyn. Seriously.
And how did you get over her passing?
Well, I looked up in the sky one day.
Yes.
I said, God, how could you take the love of my life away from me? And he said, Frankie, I needed a good angel, and she was the best one available. And that was the truth. And after that, I relaxed, and I said, God, we're going to move forward. And I must tell you this about Carolyn. She was always by my side, went to all the shows, offered to do things for me on a constant basis. This is what you call real marriage. When people...
Real love.
Real love. This is real love. And it was the love of our kids, love of our grandchildren, but she had true love. And, of course, this is how you have things happen in your lifetime that she said to me about 6 weeks before passing. She said, honey, all those girls, those 8 to 10 girls that tap you on the shoulder and tap me on my shoulder and come and say, can I borrow Frankie for a dance? Because we love to dance, both of us, and she was a terrific dancer. And she'd always say, sure, it's only a dance. And I'd go dance with the girls, She said, honey, I'm going to be going soon, I believe. Guess what? I want you to have a good time. So please, you don't have to have them tap you on the shoulder. Go and find someone to dance with. And I know that is what you want to do because that's the kind of person you are. And I did. Of course, I didn't do anything for almost 3 years in Carolyn's passing. And I met Marion through my prayer list.
Talk to us about that.
I currently have 129 people on my prayer list. So the thing is like, for instance, when we say we have a prayer list, Marion and I pray for her 4 times a day. We say our prayers in the morning, at lunch, dinner, and before we go to bed. While we're laying in bed, actually, we hold hands and say our prayers. And we have many people, as I said, 129 people currently, But what I do is I carry this card because she is extra special and she's having some very difficult times. And her kids and family love me. I mean, they call me Grandpa. They hug me and kiss me in church and that. We've gone out to dinner. And they said, Frankie, you're helping us work through this with your music. And my mom and dad, they love you. Well, guess what? Marion and I, we love them too. And that's very important.
That is very important.
Life can be a success only if you make it a success, really. And I feel it very, very important.
Frankie, I think the message that you got across to our viewers today is one of positivity, of inspiration, pulling yourself up from a bad situation and turning it really to a positive. I want to bring Marion in here really quick. If you could just come on around here so that the cameras can view the new love of your life and the new rock that you have, because we appreciate you and everything that you're doing for this wonderful legend. It has been my pleasure to have the two of you in to Bethel Park Studios today to hear your stories, to tell your tales, and to just make the world know everything that made you who you are today.
Right. Without God, we're nothing.
You are an inspiration. You are a living legend. I thank you so much for your time today. Bethel Park TV, I feel thrilled and honored that we were able to get time with this living legend and that he was able to share these stories with us today. A very special edition of Healthy, Fit, and Strong. I am thrilled to say that I am Amy Taylor with Frankie Day and his fiancee, Marion. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you. God bless you.
The Frankie Day Oldies Show features oldies music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, played by Frankie Day. It's broadcast weekday mornings from 8 to 10 a.m. on 97.5 FM and 770 KFB AM here in Pittsburgh. In 2010, 97.5 FM, 770 KFB was voted the #2 oldie station in the United States and Canada by the readers of Ross on Radio, an influential industry newsletter. For more information, call Frankie Day at 412-812-1150. Check out Frankie's website, frankieday.com, or send him an email at frankieday@comcast.net.
Here is the Frankie Day Spin.